Okay, so this is similar to problems we were doing in the last lesson. I am recording, so you don't want to make lots of conversations. A rectangular patio has a length 4 times its width. So let's just stop and kind of draw that first. So its width is x, and the length is 4 times that. Then the length is going to be 4x, good job. It has a 3-foot wide brick border around it. So I'm going to draw this kind of probably out of scale, but that's okay. So this is going to be 3 feet. That's going to be 3 feet. And then this way you also have 3 feet, 3 feet. I know my pictures are beautiful. So if I add 3 feet all the way around, what that does is this right here becomes 4x plus 3 plus 3. Let me pull that down. We're just going to make it plus 6. And then on this side, we're going to have x plus 6. So if they want us to write a quadratic function to model that, then it's going to look like this. Sorry, it's the mic in this that's actually making it sound weird, but I have to have it on to record. I don't know.
Well, could you just turn off the mic?
No, because otherwise it'll be a soundless video. Sorry.
Wait, but don't you have 2 mics on?
They both go to the same speakers. I turned the volume down. Hopefully that'll help out you guys. All right, so this is my length times my width. So if they want a quadratic model for this, what we're going to do is FOIL. You're going to multiply everything by everything. So take 4x times x is 4x squared. 4x times 6 is 24x. Let me make it darker. Here we go. 6 times x is 6x. 6 times 6 is 36. We just did FOIL. Okay, and then we're going to combine like terms. So we'll have 4x squared plus 30x plus 36. So that's my quadratic function based on what they had. Now, they're asking us to solve this one a little differently. They want us to graph it. So when we're going to graph something like this, we're going to have to set a window. What? So 3 plus 3 is 6. 3 plus 3 is 6. So you end up with an additional 6 feet on each side. I did explain that. Okay, so let's go into, if we're going to graph this, you do go into your y equals. And we would type 4x squared plus 30x plus 36. And then, depending on what your window is, it may or may not graph. So I recommend going into the window and trying to set this up. So we don't really know what the width is going to be. We'll see if 10 will work.
What if you have this thing that says shade, rest?
Don't mess with it.
What should it be at? Should it be at?
I have no idea. That's something you shouldn't mess with. So I have this set up from the last one that we did. I'm just going to see what happens. Yeah, that's not tall enough. So, and this is why this was, let's darken that up a little bit. So I can't see the parabola. I can see part of it. So what I'm going to have to do is go into my window and make this bigger. So I don't know how big I need to make it, 300. And I don't know how big this needs to be. Maybe I'll make it 30. You basically just have to mess around with it until you can figure out what it's going to look like. Okay, and actually this one, your vertex, you're only going to see the right side of the quadratic. I'm realizing I'm only seeing the right side of the parabola. So it's curved, your vertex is sort of non-existent. And it wants us to evaluate the function for x equals 5. Now there's a cool trick for this. If you hit your trace key, and then you hit the number 5 while it's in trace mode, it'll do this, and it'll be like a little prompt, and you hit enter, and it's going to tell you what that is. So when x is 5, y is 286, and you write it down. So let me go through that again. So you hit your trace key, okay? And then you just hit the number 5. You'll get this prompt, and you hit enter, and it's going to tell you what that point is so you can figure out the y when it's 5. So if I want to know what it is at 4.68, I could do 4.68, enter, and it's going to calculate that for me. Okay, you could also go to the table and find it in the table, but if they want you to do like a weird number, like 6.758 or something, the trace thing is nice. Okay, so there it is, 286, and that would be square feet because that would be the area. Okay, so we're going to do something a little bit different for most of this lesson. We're going to do what's called a quadratic regression. Last year you learned how to do linear regressions, which is using the graphing calculators to find best fit lines. What's different with quadratics is instead of a line, it's going to be a best fit parabola, but they call it a quadratic regression. It's a method used to find the quadratic function that best fits a data set. So this is our first example. I'm going to go through it with you step by step. Okay, so step 1, use a graphing calculator, enter the price increase X and average revenue Y in a table. L1 shows the number of price increases, L2 shows the revenues. So they are not using this column at all. They're giving you a little extra information. So these are the only 2 things that they want. So to put this in, it's going to show you in this box. Number 1 is hit the Stat button. Number 2, select Edit. Then we've got these columns to put stuff in. So if I need to delete everything, I go up to the top where it has the little L1 or L2 and I hit clear and down or clear and enter. So clear and down or clear and enter. You can also type over the top of them. But if there's a bunch of them, it's kind of a pain. So it says we're going to put in the price increase for X and the average revenue for Y. So no increase is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I should have asked if anybody needed to borrow a calculator because you do want to do this with me. Okay, so 745, 846, 910. 952 and 1008. When you get done, make sure all your X's have a Y and your Y's have an X and nothing got mixed up because it doesn't like it if you give it half of a point. It kind of freaks out. And I've given you a little screen picture over here. This is what it's supposed to look like. So for this first example, you've kind of got the step-by-step all printed out. Okay, once you have that typed, step 2, we're going to use the quadratic regression feature, use the values for A, B, and C to write an equation. So in the box, it has our keystrokes. You're going to hit Stat again. You're going to right arrow over to Calc.
Mine is kind of being weird. And then you hit like.
And then
you leave 9, right?
number 5 is quadratic regression.
What is Why it look like that?
I have no idea.
And so then we write equation for that?
It's giving you the A, B, and C. Give me a second while I fix his calculator.
Y equals AX plus B.
I really don't know. It's gonna take me longer than a couple minutes to figure out. It's in some mode I've never seen. So we'll probably have to reset your memory. Okay, so it's gonna ask are the X's in the L1 and the Y's in the L2? If that's where you put them, then you can just go down to where it says calculate. And it's going to tell you, okay, Y equals AX squared plus BX plus C. Here's A, here's B, here's C. And it might give you an R squared. That just tells you how well it fits the data. So basically what we're going to do then is take this and write our equations. So we're going to have Y equals negative 8x squared plus 95.2x plus 749.8. So that's our quadratic regression equation. Sometimes they call it a model. It says the closer r squared is to 1, the better the fit. How well does your model fit? So my r squared says 0.9935, so pretty dang good. I'm just going to put pretty good. Probably pretty well is better, but we'll call pretty good.
We can't put pretty dang well.
I mean, it's your notes. All right, so it says use use the model to determine the predicted revenue after the 6th and 7th price increases. So what we can do, there's a couple of things. If you go to your y equals menu, we can actually copy and paste this equation in, okay? And I don't have the steps for that here. You could just type it. Let's just do that this time. Let's just type it. -8 x squared plus 95.2x plus 749.8. I think it's actually going to take us less time to just do that with this one. So if I do that, I can go in and, maybe my graph isn't set up real well. So I might have to adjust my window to go higher. Try to see, yeah, because my numbers are really big. So I'm going to make my y max 1500. And I don't think my x max needs to be 30. I'm going to change that back to 10. So in my window, this is what it looks like. I got 0, 10, 1, 0, 1500. And then I guess that could go by hundreds or something. And then if you hit graph, we should be able to see the top of the parabola now. Looks like it's about right there.
I think mine's different than yours, but mine's different than yours.
Can you see the top?
No. Can you go back to your window?
Yep.
Peter, how much does Ingrid owe you?
Hey guys, I'm recording, so all these little conversations are now part of my video, so if you could not do that, thanks. Okay, so once we get over to the graph, did you get it? So 0, 10, 1, 0, 1500, 100, and I didn't mess with anything after that. Okay, so go to graph. Could be how you typed it in if it's not showing up. So it wants us to do 6 and 7. So if I hit trace and just say 6, I just hit the number 6 key and enter, it's going to tell me 1033. And then if I hit 7 and enter, it's going to give me 1024.2. So I can just get those off the graph. You can also go over to your table and find 6 and 7 there. And then we can see what those revenues do.